What's up, students? Chase here with Star Tutors again. Figured we'd get back to some basics today for the live stream and do the October 2022 SAT Math No Calc section. If you guys are joining us live, as always, these are always kind of exciting videos. I know students tend to like these ones more than some of the other ones we do, which is fair. Whoops, which is fair. But as you guys get into the chat, if you're joining us live, can you give me a thumbs up? Just let me know you're here. And we will get started here in just a second. Okay, again, today we're going to be going through the October 2022 SAT Math No Calc section. I'll give you guys some pointers along the way. If you want to follow along, there's a link to the Reddit thread. That's where I found this. Hopefully this is the right test form. I think it is. Reddit's usually pretty good about that. But there's a link to the Reddit thread that has this particular test form. So definitely check that out if you guys have an opportunity. And again, the recommendation here, guys, is if you didn't take the October test, if you did not take the October 2022 SAT exam, my recommendation would be that you take this no calculator section before you start, before you watch this video. Go ahead and take that section yourself. See how it goes, right? See how you do. And then watch along, right? Follow along and see if you're, taking notes. See if you're, doing some similar things to what I'm trying to do in these videos. So hopefully it goes well. The no calc section is always, it is kind of what it is. If you know how to do the concepts, then you can do this really well. I will say this, turning our attention to this before we get started with the timer. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to figure out so I can add this timer real quick. Add the chat. I don't know if I can add the chat. Okay, guys, if you guys have any questions, I can see the chat over here. So, yeah, if you guys have any questions while you go, I can see it. You guys can obviously see it while you follow along. I try to put it up on the screen for everybody to see the chat for those that are not watching live. If you aren't watching live, please make sure that you're following along with the video as we go. Please make sure that that's a priority. And if you at any point, if you're not watching live, have questions that you want to ask me, you can always do that by commenting in the comment section below. Our teachers and tutors will try to respond as quickly as we can. And of course, students are always pretty good about kind of creating that community atmosphere that we always want to answer any questions. So if you guys are joining live, thumbs up in the chat or just a hello in the chat. If you guys have any questions while we go through this, please let me know. How many of you guys took the October 2022 SAT? If you guys are not watching this live, go ahead and pause the video, comment below if you took the October 2022 SAT. This is only a couple weeks ago. At the time of this filming, it's only a couple weeks ago. How many of you guys took this test? Okay, and if you did, we're going to try to cover all of the sections. In terms of live streaming, we're going to cover the writing and language section tomorrow. Again, that'll be available to all students after we're done for the recorded version. But again, thumbs up, guys, in the chat if you're ready to go. Thumbs up in the chat for those that are watching live. Put 25 minutes on the clock. That's how much time we get for the no calc section. We'll see how it goes. Again, no calc is kind of one of those weird ones where if you know the concepts, you're probably going to do well. And if you don't, no calc tends to go better for me than the calculator section does because I, for the most part feel, well, I shouldn't say that. I feel pretty comfortable with the calculator section after this amount of time. But calculator, I should say, is a little bit more volatile to begin with because it's not as much concept-based as you guys know. It's, there's some tricks there. So it's a lot easier, I'd say, to make simple mistakes on the calculator section than it is on the no-calc section. Again, because there's the fastest way to do a lot of the problems in the calc section is to guess and check, which is effective. That's always guess and check by nature is going to lead to more simple mistakes. So it's a little bit of give and take there. But all of the questions, don't forget that all of the questions on the calc section and the no calc section are equal value. So there's 58 total questions between those two sections. They add up all of those and they give you a score based on both of those combined. So it's 20 for no calc, 38 for calc. They combine those for 58 questions. So if you get it's not I got 35 out of 38. It's I got 55 out of 58, right? So all of these questions are combined and effectively equal value in your overall math score. All right, guys, so just keep that in mind as we go through this. Again, thumbs up if we're ready to go. If you guys have any questions while we go, I'll try to explain our 3-pass method, which I think is really, really effective and helpful in terms of that accuracy idea. So 3-pass, and I'll explain that as we go. We get 25 minutes, 20 questions. Those last 5 are the free response questions for those that haven't seen a no-calc section before. Again, this is the October 2022 SAT exam. So this just happened at the time of this filming, just happened. If you guys have any questions for those that are live streaming, go ahead and ask those. While we're going through this, I'll try to answer them as best as I can, even though the timer's going to be running. If you have questions, again, after you're watching the recorded version of this, don't hesitate to pause the video and ask questions. So, all right, guys, without further ado, thumbs up. Hopefully everybody's ready to go. And let me start the timer now. Okay, perfect. So 25 minutes. Let's go through it. So pretty easy looks like to start. I think it's a line, right? Just be really careful. You know what? I'm going to skip this one just because it already starts. I'm going to skip number 2. So guys, if you don't know about our 3-pass method, the idea for this 3-pass is you're going to pass through the test 3 times effectively. Thumbs up, guys, if you've heard this method before. Okay, what we're really trying to accomplish here is we're trying to establish answering all of the easiest, most straightforward questions first, not because you don't know how to do number 1 and number 2, but because you don't want to increase your chances of making a simple mistake. Remember, when you start this exam, you'll have just completed the reading section, then right after that, the writing and language, and then there's no break between writing and language in this section 3 no calc section, right? You want to get yourself warmed up with some easy math questions. Don't start out with word problems because again, whether or not you can answer those correctly, you're exponentially increasing the chances that you make a simple mistake. If you jump right into the no calc section and you start with a word problem, that's a certainty, right? You might get it right, but you're still increasing your chances. Why take that risk? Got like a hair in my eye here. Okay, so let's look at number 3. What is the solution to x, y to be given? So this is very straightforward, right? I knew right away it was going to be because it's number 3, and it gives us that x equals 4. We don't see, right? We don't get any help with that by eliminating answers, but always look to that first. If x equals 4, then y equals 4 over 4 plus 2, right? That's a system, meaning that the x and y values are the same. So y is equal to 1 plus 2, which is just equal to 3. So the x value is 4, the y value is 3, right? And we can move on from there. Does that make sense as we go through that? Okay, perfect. Is that everybody good with that one? So that's a good one to start with because it's pretty straightforward. A very easy question. This is the whole point of the 3-pass method, guys. This is why we started to do this more and more often. I realized that the value of questions, this is why we're doing this. The value of, remember, there's not 20 levels. It gets harder as it goes, but it's not like there's 15 or 20 levels of difficulty on the math section. Thumbs up if that makes sense. That's so key to your understanding of this test and the formatting. It's not like question 1 is easier than 2 and 2 is easier than 3. That's not how it works. There are 3 levels. And by the definition of the SAT, level 1 is all level 1. 4 is going to be a level 1 question, just like 1 is a level 1, but there's going to be discrepancy on which one of those is easier. 4 is probably going to be just by looking at this, probably the easiest question on this entire test. We have a positive slope, so we know it's not B, we know it's not C. We know does everybody see that, guys? There's only one positive sloped line on answer choice number 4. That's the easiest question probably on the entire test. Why, even if you can get number 1 right, at least initially, after just completing writing and language and reading, why do number 1 when 4 is still to come and it gets us warmed up, right? Thumbs up if that makes sense. 5 is going to be pretty easy, right? Because we just see here, if you know your values, this is y equals f of x. If we add the plus 2, right, then we're just going to shift it up 2 units. So it's got to be answer choice A. Does everybody see that? 4 and 5, right? Yamagato, welcome back for the live chat. Welcome back. Thanks for the comment there. Everybody see? Can everybody give me a thumbs up? For those that are watching the live stream, or if you're not, pause the video and realize how much easier 3, 4, and 5 were than 1 and 2. I don't care if 1 and 2 we can get them right. I don't care if they're level 1. there's a discrepancy, like defined. Number 4, everybody knows y equals mx plus b. Everybody knows that value, and they've only given you one answer choice that has a positive slope, right? We got to be looking for those first if we're going to maximize our efficiency and maximize our test taking. Those are the ones we have to look at first. Okay, this one's going to be pretty easy too because it's just going to be plugging in, right? Even as it gets a little bit, let's see, q of x is equal to 5, right? And this just means we're going to plug it in, -1, and it looks like x raised to the 6th power, -1 times -1. Yeah, so I think that should be +1, right? -1 times -1 is, yeah, +1, right? So 5, right, times 1, so that just equals 5, I think, right? Pretty straightforward, which is just answer choice C, right? Very, very straightforward. Even number 6, I'll guarantee number 6 is easier than question number 1, regardless of whether or not you can do question number 1, and that's critical in terms of your efficiency as a test taker. What value is a solution for 7? This is pretty straightforward. Solution. So those are just going to cancel. X plus 2 equals 0. X equals -2. I mean, other than question 1 and 2, and we don't know about those, this seems like a pretty straightforward and easy test. This one, if you know this one, is going to be pretty straightforward too, right? It can't be, right? Always look to eliminate first, guys. Always be looking to eliminate first. It can't be B or D because it's upside, right? It's an upside down parabola. We have an absolute maximum here. So it's when you flip, it means that there's going to be a negative sign out there. And it goes up to 4, right? It's a vertical shift of 4. So I think it's just C. That's a pretty straightforward problem too. Generally, I like geometry, guys, so I'm going to do number 9. It's a little bit more of a word problem, but if they give you a figure, right, if they give you a figure, generally speaking, it's going to be easier. There's less likelihood of making a simple mistake because you can just visualize it. So even though 9, and plus we're kind of getting into these questions, harder questions anyway, so I'm going to try number 9, but I'm going to always have it in the back of my mind that if after 30 seconds of this, if I'm like, I have no idea what's going on here, right? If I have no idea what's going on, I'm moving on. Yeah, Danny, so if anybody's still watching the live chat, Danny, you're right, geometry sucks. If you feel that way, and believe me, there are certain questions, I don't like certain sections of math, right? But if you know what you are good at and not good at, I like geometry, but I don't like other sections. If you know that going into the test, you have a huge advantage over every other student because you know what you're going to skip. You know, like looking at these triangles, like, you know, I hate geometry, I hate proofs, I hate everything about that. So just get me away from this question, right? So it's a great comment just in terms of your efficiency as a test taker. Knowing what you're good at and knowing what you're not good at, knowing what you like helps you a ton, right? So let's see, triangle is similar. So if they're similar triangles, they have equal angles. So it looks like that one's going to be obviously equal, that one's equal, and then these guys are equal. So such that B corresponds to D and C corresponds, yes, I mean, that's pretty straightforward. The measure of angle ABC is 60 degrees. ABC is 60 degrees. What is the measure of angle ADE? Am I reading something wrong here? D corresponds. Isn't that just D? Seems like a very easy question for number 9. Yeah. ACT arithmetic, yeah. I think I gotta come back to them around. That seems too easy almost. Danny, yeah, if you like arithmetic, right, there are certain questions that everybody knows the questions that they like to do. Do not be doing questions that you hate to do before you've seen every question on the test. That it literally, right, doesn't make. Yeah, and Danny, we're gonna do the writing and language section for the SAT tomorrow. We'll be doing ACT leading up to the December test, but we did some ACT videos recently, so check those out on the channel, guys. I'm going to skip number 10. I might do 11 here in a second, but 12 is super straightforward. If you guys ever see this term no solution, if the given says is a constant, the system has no solution, that means parallel lines, right? Parallel lines. If you see that term no solution, you know parallel lines is slopes are equal, slope equals slope. Y-intercepts are different, so different y-intercepts. Look how straightforward this is. What is the value of P? If you know that, guys, that is even at number 12, and this, by the way, I don't know if, we'll see, I guess, in the answer choices. This test, for those that took October 2022 no calc, this seems very, very easy to this point in the test, but we'll see. But if you know this idea for no solution, right? If you know that, that should be a pretty straightforward question. which is 3. I'm going to come back to number 9 because I thought that was too easy. I'm going to skip number 11 for right now, although I don't think it's going to be that bad. I'm going to skip 13 and 14. I can come back to those. This one I knew was going to be easy. I just kind of glanced at it. I knew this was going to be easy because it's a circle equation. If you know the circle equation, right, you're just going to be solving by completing the square. This is this is a very common question. I'll say that about the SAT no calc section. So if you guys have seen this before, it's a pretty common question. We're just going to complete this by completing the square. So x squared minus 16x. Get your terms together. X squared minus 16x. Then you're going to complete the square for both x and y. So divide by 2, square it. So that's plus 64, right? You're going to plus 64. Don't forget, guys, that if you add 64 to one side, you got to add 64 to the other, right? So 0 plus 64 is 64. Plus y squared minus 4y, divide by 2 and square it, plus 4. So if we add that, we have to add it on this side as well. And then, then we have plus 32, right? So plus 32, so we get 64 plus 4. I'm going to subtract the 32 on the other side. So this should be negative 32. Because we want all of our constants on one side, plus 64, plus 4. I'm confusing myself. This isn't that hard of a question. I get x. Oh, I guess I don't even have to do that, right? Because I'm just looking for the radius, so that's all over here. Negative 32 plus 64 is 32, plus 4 is 36. And this is equal to r squared, if you guys remember the circle equation. So r is equal to 6. Yeah, guys, so if you guys are hanging out watching the video, for anybody that's in the live stream, we're doing writing and language tomorrow, same time, so look out for those. If you're not available to watch the live stream tomorrow, just make sure that you tune into the channel, okay? Or make sure that you watch the recording, but the writing and language section from October 2022 is going to be done tomorrow. This, again, guys, this one feels so far like a pretty easy section. We still have 15 minutes on the clock. Number 16, what positive... this is either going to go really, really well or really poorly. Positive value of x. So far, this seems very straightforward. Maybe those questions that I've skipped, right? X equals 32. Maybe this is just an easy no calc section and it'll be a hard calc section. But so far, this seems pretty straightforward. Or I'm just completely out of it today and going to miss a lot of these. Equation of the line k, right? Y equals mx plus b. That's part of the reason this seems really easy is because there seems to be a lot of y equals mx plus b questions. What is the slope of the line that is well, that's now 2 questions. What's really weird about this is they had number 12, I think, was no solutions, which is parallel lines. What is the slope of the line? Well, y equals mx plus b, the slopes are the same. That's 2 questions that deal with parallel lines. M equals 7, right? So that's got to be our answer for the parallel lines. But it's weird. It's also weird that they've, what do we have? 13 minutes up. It's also weird that they have 2 of those questions on it. Does anybody else feel like this kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but this one's pretty straightforward. Number 18, this one's pretty straightforward, right? But just be really careful. Always, always look for what the question is asking. That's a rule of thumb for any student that's taking this for the first time. They do this. They love to do this on the no calculator section. They look for 3p, and of course everybody solves for p and gets it wrong. Don't be that student, right? So we get 2/3 p. I also, even if you can do this stuff in your head, guys, right? Don't be too proud to just write this stuff out. Don't have too big of an ego saying, oh, I can do it all in my head. That's fine if you can, great. But that, you don't get any bonus points for that. So why not just write it out, especially if you know you have enough time. Multiply by 3/2 on both sides. What do we get? P is equal to 18 divided by 2, so P equals 9. Right? But again, as we go through this, don't forget that they're looking for 3p. Because if you write p equals 9, you're going to get the question wrong, and I can't tell you how many students do that. And that's a simple mistake that we can always avoid. Okay, so I think that one's pretty straightforward. Number 19 doesn't look that bad either. Although this is one, I'll say 19 is one that maybe it's a little bit, it's not, these are really easy questions once you know how to do them. But I will say this about 19 is that it's a question that requires a little bit of practice because it's not something you see very often. So we're looking for this. And then when you write this out, guys, what they're really looking for is they're looking for ax to the 5th, right? You just basically, anytime you see this, and they give you all of these constants, you're just factoring it out. And it looks like here we're looking for the value of d. Mark up the page as much as you can. So we get 3x, right, to the fifth. And so as an example, we know that that's going to be the only term that we have to the fifth, right? 3x to the fifth. So we would know that if they asked for a, thumbs up, guys, if this makes sense. If we asked for a, we would know that it would be 3. But we're not asking for a. Be careful, we're asking for d. So we get 3x squared, and then plus x to the fourth. Write it all out. No reason to miss this question just because you're rushing. Minus 18x to the third, minus 6x squared. We're going to combine like terms. Plus 15x squared, plus 5x. Right? I think that's it. Yep. Okay, and then we're going to combine these terms. Looks like we only have 1x to the fourth term. Right, is that right? Did I do all that? Oh, 3, sorry guys, right. Minus, wait, did I do all these? Wait, I didn't do all these things. Minus, oh, wait, plus x to the fourth. Yeah, I did. Sorry, how many terms do I have? I have 5, right? Yeah. I don't know what's going on there. Do we only combine those two? Is that it? Minus 6x. So, right, because this is a, and I'm confusing myself. I was talking too much. I think this is going to be the d term, right? Yeah, dx squared. Yeah, so that's going to be what? Minus 6x squared, so 9x squared is equal to dx squared. Right, you're basically just lining these things up. Thumbs up, guys, if you know how to do this question. Pretty straightforward. So I think d is just equal to 9. I confused myself there a little bit because I was talking too much, but I think that's right. I'm just going to keep moving just to make sure we are able to finish. Number 20, figure shows the mast of a boat. I'm going to do number 20 now that we're in this word problem, right? Now I've gone through all the questions. I've seen all the questions. 20 is a free response question. So I want to be able to do number 20 because it's not like I'm going to be able to get, you're not going to be able to guess on this one. So you want to try to do number 20 now, and then we'll go back to the beginning. The figure shows the mast of a boat that is installed perpendicular. The mast is secured. The rope measures 17 feet. It makes an angle at x degrees. The point where the rope is attached to the mast is 15 feet above the deck. What is the value of tan x? So we just have to solve, right? So 15 squared plus b squared is equal to, maybe this is this a special, is this like a Pythagorean triple? What is 15 squared? 225. I think, if my math is right, isn't this, I think this is 289. Is that right? Let's see. Well, it's going to be right because then you get, remember guys, this is the no calc section. You can't put a radical in the free response. The reason I say that, I thought it was 289. I think it is, right? 7 times 7 is 9. So I think that's 289. But the real reason I thought it was going to be that is because 289 minus 225, right? Even if you're on, that's equal to 64, I think, right? 64. And they're going to give you a full value, right? Because you can't put a radical in the free response. So I think b is equal to 8. Or tan x, right, is equal to, would be equal to 8, and then 8 over 15. Does that make sense, guys? So if you know that this value now is 8, that must be I think it's 8 over 15. Be careful, because I almost just left it with 8, but I'm looking for tan x. What is the value of tan x? So I think it's 8 over 15. And I think that's it for the free responses. So now, the beauty of this, guys, right, is we have what? Let's see, 7.5. Thumbs up, guys. We have 7.5 minutes on the clock. And now I have, I know exactly how much time left, and I still have the great thing about skipping early is that I know I'm warmed up, I'm thinking about math, and I still have some, hopefully relatively easy problems to come back to. The line models the relationship between body weight and foot length for a group of infants based on what is predicted weight of an infant with a foot length, right, of 9. Okay, this is way easier than I thought. What is that, like right here? Foot length of 9 is 7. Is that right, guys? Does that everybody see that? That was way easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought they tried to trick us here by not starting at 0, but I guess that's why, because right, a baby's not born with a 0 length foot, right? They have something to start, so I think that should be 7 for number 1. What's our time? 7 minutes. Okay, that didn't take long. Okay, now does everybody see? Thumbs up, guys. The beauty of this strategy, why this is so helpful sometimes, is because we know if we skip early questions, we come back to early questions, right? I didn't think 1 and 2, I said this when we started the test, I didn't think those were going to be definitively difficult questions, But I did think that there was a chance that I could make a simple mistake on those. This method is about efficiency. It's not about saying that you can't do these questions, right? Well, I can do those so easily. Well, that might be true, but without a doubt, if you think about this from what the real test is going to give you, not one individual section, you'll have just completed like over 100 questions, I think, right? 100 questions, close to 100 questions of grammar that has nothing to do with math and no calculator. You want to start by warming up with the absolute easiest problems. That's how you become the most efficient test taker. Okay, and then again, the beauty of this is you come back, you still see some easy questions. Has a length, so segment AC has a length of 120 and contains point B. If AB equals 5x and BC, which well, then we just add them all up, right? So we have 5x, be careful, plus 20. But this is a much better example than question number 1 of making a simple mistake. And it's not to say that I couldn't either, right? But this is a great example of how you could make a simple mistake. So I think this one, this is going to be great, like this. I think it's just D. But that's a very common simple mistake question, right? Regardless of what that shows up with, I don't think that question is particularly difficult, but that's a very, very common simple mistake question. So now we have 5 minutes left? So thumbs up, guys. Let's see number 10. I think we have like maybe 3 or 4 questions left. The graph models relationship between the area of a rainforest A in square miles and the predicted number of flowering in the area. Okay, so we're just going to do a simple, right? It starts at 0, 0, and it goes up 40 to, so it's just 15,000, right? 15,000, because we're subtracting 0, 0 over 40. And what's that? Well, I guess we can just multiply, right? What's 4 times 375, is that right? Yeah, I think it's B for number 10. Right, we're just looking for the slope. Does everybody see that one on number 10? Everybody good with that? We're just looking for the slope. So this is the slope, right? M equals, it's 15,000 minus 0 over 40 minus 0. I used those 2 points. I think that should be 375 if my math is correct. Number 11 relates to the numbers P and N, where which of the equation correctly expresses, oh, this one was way easier, right? P equals 2 over N plus 3. Don't rush this, right? Don't try to do this one in your head. There's absolutely no reason to miss this question, right? If you see N in terms of P, you can see these in the answer choices, right? They've just given you N equals. So, of course, you're just going to manipulate the equation. P minus 3 equals 2 over N. I suppose we can do this in a couple different ways. I'm going to multiply by N. I'm going to switch these, right? So it gets N is equal to 2 over P minus 3. If you multiply by N both sides and then divide, right, we see that. So I think it should be answer choice C. Okay, so that makes sense, guys. I'm just going to erase that check mark because that's not my intended answer choice. 10, 11, 12. 13, we did 15, yeah. Okay, if we did 15, so which the following expression is equal to given expression where x is greater than 0 and y is greater than or equal to 0. Well, don't we just multiply that in, right? So x times x squared is just x, right, plus root x times y. I think we multiply those radicals together, right? I think that's right. I think that's right. What's our time here? About 2.5. I think that's right, guys. Right, you multiply. This seems, I don't know why, but this test. Did anybody else get the sense that like this test was easier? Easier than most. Maybe that's going to be made up. Don't, guys. One of the other things you want to remember about this, with about 2 minutes to go, I think this is our last question, right? Yeah, so I think it just seems a little bit more straightforward than others that we've done. But I just be careful with those guys. So again, about 1:45 left. I always like to go through and just make sure that I have everything written down. It seems like we do. I'll go to do it again at the end. But those estimators list of 200 vocabulary words. He was assessed as memorization of the words over 3 days. On day 1, he remembered all 200 words. On each of the next 2 days, Joe's remembered 10% fewer words than it. How many words do you remember? So this is just 200, right? On day one, he remembered all 200 words. So times 0.9, right? 10% fewer is equal to what? 180. And then minus 18, so 172, I think. Day three, is that 180? No, wait. No. 162, right? 162. 180, yeah, 18 minus. That was a good catch, right? Don't let yourself get fooled at the end of the test. I think it's 162. So with about a minute to go, guys, just make sure that you have everything written down. X equals 32, right? That was. Did anybody else again? Maybe I'm crazy, but 3p equals 27. D was equal to 9. 8, 15. Let's see. Do we get everything? 13, 14, 15. 11 was C. B for 10. Much time? 30 seconds or so. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Just trying to use up all the time, right? Anybody else have any questions on these? I think that should be it, guys. So, yeah, I mean, we finished with a little bit of time left, but hopefully everything was pretty straightforward with that. Stop the timer here. Okay, so guys, anybody? I felt like that section was a little bit easier. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I felt like that section was a little bit easier than some no calc sections, but I can't stress this enough. Do not let your guard down. I almost missed 15 because I just tried to do simple math in my head and wasn't really paying attention. Was kind of worried about the time and thinking about other things, looking at comments, right, to try to answer your questions. So again, don't let yourself get distracted at the end. The other thing that's critical is to not forget that these sections, if the no calc is easy, more than likely the calculator section is going to be a little bit harder. Okay, thumbs up if you guys knew that before. Right, thumbs up if you knew that before. If the no calc section is easy, more than likely the calc section is going to be a little bit harder. But every question is worth the same value. Okay, when you go through this, you have to have a mindset of like, I need to continue to press all of the easiest questions. This no calc section probably, I mean, realistically, I don't think we had to really think about any of them. Number 19 maybe was the dx squared one. That one was a little bit tricky because I got distracted, and that's a very easy question, make a simple mistake. The questions I want you guys to take away though is a question like number 2. Okay, hopefully we didn't miss that one, but this is the idea that you want to pass through this question the first time. You want to get a warm up, right? You want to make sure that you are warmed up before doing this question. You don't necessarily need to skip as many questions as I did, but number 2 is a great example of a question that we'll see students miss all the time because there's a lot of information and it's kind of hard to visualize like a line AC, right? Unless you draw that out, which might have helped, right? But unless you draw that out, it's hard to visualize that. Okay, thumbs up, guys, if that makes sense. Thumbs up if that makes sense. This 3-pass method. Regardless of your goal score on the test, you got to be thinking, where are the most efficient questions? Where are the questions that I'm going to answer after just completing almost 100 questions that are verbal, right? That have nothing to do with math. Where am I going to find myself when I start the no calculator section? Am I looking to find the easiest questions, or am I just doing this in order just to do it? The latter of those two options is not a good one in terms of making simple mistakes and in terms of maximizing your score. So I want you guys to be aware of that. I want you guys to be considering that. So thumbs up, guys, if that all makes sense. I'll grade this real quick. Let me just hopefully they have it in this. I don't know what the curve is. I don't know if they have that or if they released it, but usually if you just search answer choices for any given test, you should be able to find it. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I think this is the right one. The same, yeah, same. It should be under the same thread oh, hey Google, pause. Oops. Okay, ready? Hey Google. Let's see as I go through this, right? Okay, so let me no calculator section. All right. Okay. Question number 1. Is that right? Okay. Yep. Question number 1 here. Let's go through this. So question 1 is B. Question 2 is D. Thank goodness I didn't miss that after that long speech I just gave you guys. Question 2 is B. Question 3 is B. Good. 4, A. 5 is A. Good. Those are easy, straightforward questions, right? 6 was C. 7 was D. 8 was C. 9 was D. 10 was B. 11 was C. Yep. 12 was D. 12 was the one, right? That should be really straightforward. 13 was A. Okay, so yeah, 9 and 13 seemed way easier than they should have been, but those were right. Yeah, 14 and 15 were both B's, so that's good. 16, that one seemed really, yeah, 32. That one was wildly easy. Like, again, for this test, if you've seen enough of these practice tests, I'm not just saying this, guys, to be like, oh, it's wildly easy for me. It's not, right? That's not what I mean by that. It just, if you've seen enough of these practice tests, that feels like a very easy number 16. So that's really what I'm getting at there. 17 was 7. 18 was 27. Okay, just for the record, guys, 18 was 27. I did highlight that here, right? Because look out, I almost caught myself. P is equal to 9, right? I had that one right, but just be careful on that one for 18. Okay, so 3P was 27. That's right. Be careful. 19 was 9, and 20 was 8/15. So that's right, guys. So that should be all pretty straightforward, right? We get 20 out of 20. And the thing that I want you guys to be thinking about is that as you do this, your goal, right, 20 out of 20 using the 3 pass, if you use this effectively, it doesn't mean, maybe you're a great math student and your goal is to get all of the math questions right. That's awesome. To get an 800 is incredible. But what your goal should be is to have it be stress-free. Whatever your goal score is, you want to see every question. Can everybody give me one more thumbs up? Does anybody have any questions on that? That whatever your goal score is, until you've seen every question on the test, right? Until you've seen every question on the test, you want your job. Your job is to be stress-free until you've seen every question and you've identified which questions you felt like were really easy. One of the things that really helps our students and has helped me is now go back. Once you've taken a test, once you've watched this video, once you've thought about this, go back and try to see if you can identify questions that you answered that probably weren't what we would call like these, again, this first pass. Does that make sense? So one more thumbs up, guys, if that makes sense, just in the chat. Anybody have any questions about that? That you want to go back and like number 3 was definitely a 1. What we do is we have our students put the right in terms of test corrections. It's not just that you should be doing test corrections every time you take a test, regardless of whether or not you get a question right or wrong. If you get it right, you should still be trying to identify, should I have done that question the first time through? Right, so this should have been a pass 2. We made it a pass 2, and fortunately, I've done this enough that I'm pretty good at accurately answering these on the fly. But what I want you guys to be great at, because this will help with your consistency, is to be as efficient as possible. Consistency is based on efficiency. If you get 20 out of 20, right, it doesn't mean that you're going to get 20 out of 20 every time if you're not 100% efficient and consistent. And for those that are having a goal score of 19, 20 questions, that's awesome. But we still want to make sure that we're approaching it in the right way to guarantee that every time we sit down to take the test. Does that make sense? Okay, so hopefully that was helpful, guys. Like I said, for those that are watching the live stream, we'll be doing the writing and language section tomorrow at the time of filming. If you're not watching live, if you're watching this down the road, you can always comment below the video. So make sure that you guys are commenting, asking questions. We try to make this as communal, as much of a community as we can. And we'll be completing the writing and language section tomorrow. So English section number 2 tomorrow. So upon watching this video, just know that in all likelihood, unless you watch this live, the writing and language section is probably already released and on the channel somewhere. In fact, you know what? I'll even post that. If you guys want the link to that writing and language section, you can check this out. And I'll post that. Okay, so that's the video for tomorrow, guys. Or if you're not watching this live, that's probably already posted on the channel, so you guys can see that in the replay of the live chat. Otherwise, I hope this was helpful. We'll continue to make these videos as often as possible. We're going to do the reading and the calculator section as well. I don't know if that's going to be this week or next week, but we'll get those up to the channel as quickly as we can. If nothing else, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Have a great week. Hopefully all this stuff helps. Remember, You guys are doing great, right? Let's keep it up. Let's keep up that hard work. Let's keep up that positive community, right? That positive encouragement for all of you guys. And let's make sure that we focus on that idea of consistency and efficiency. Okay, consistency and efficiency. Those are your best friends that applies to a multiple choice test like this. So let's keep thinking about that consistency and efficiency. You guys are going to do great. Let's keep working hard. Let's keep supporting each other, and we'll see you guys for the next live stream. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great week wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye, guys. Chase with Star Tutors again. Hopefully, you guys subscribe to the channel. Join the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like what you saw today, and we'll see you for the next one. Thanks, guys.